Dossa Jabari takes a look now at the culture that still exists in Libya.
It's one of the most tribal nations in the Arab world, a country where clans and family alliances shape the political landscape. The four main tribes include the Warfalla, Libya's largest and most powerful tribe, said to have about 1 million people. It's declared it no longer supports Gaddafi. The Maghariha is the second largest tribe, and the tribe of Lockerbie bomber Abdel Basit Ali al-Maghrahi. The Al-Zintan tribe, which is close to the Warfalla tribe, has its base in the southern town of Zintan. And finally, the Qaddafa, which is Gaddafi's tribe, and it controls the air force.
It is quite significant then to know that tribes such as Warfalla and other tribes actually in the country, when they stand up and say, we don't support this regime, it doesn't mean that they supported him in the past. It just means we are going to stand against you, and we're going to stand along the people on the street. We're going to stand along the Libyan people instead.
While Gaddafi tried to eliminate the tribal system when he came to power, it remains entrenched. Gaddafi has relied on simmering tribal rivalries to tighten his grip on power. This is especially the case within the military, where all major tribes are represented. Losing these loyalties could ultimately lead to losing his grip on power. Dossa Jabari, Al Jazeera.
You're watching Al Jazeera, and we are continuing our coverage of the uprising in Libya. Let's just remind you of the latest developments in the country. It's not what they wanted to hear, but we quote, "I will die as a martyr." Those were the words of Muammar Gaddafi in a speech that lasted 75 minutes, and he told the nation that he wasn't going anywhere and that he'll fight to the last drop of blood. This as foreigners are still being evacuated from the country. Turkey has sent 2 rescue ships, as has the Netherlands and Italy, to evacuate their nationals. The United Nations Security Council met to discuss the crisis, condemned the violence, as did the Arab League in Cairo. The United Nations Human Rights Chief has called for an inquiry into attacks on the protesters, saying they could amount to crimes against humanity. We'll have our continuing coverage straight after the break. Do stay with us here on Al Jazeera.
As the fog hangs warily over London, we can always offer you the perfect pick-me-up.
Hello, the weather's looking pretty mobile across the United States at the moment. A little bit of everything here, actually. We've got this cloud making its way out into the Atlantic. Some very wintry weather now in the process of clearing away from New England, eastern parts of Canada. Follow this weather system through. That's a cold front, quite a marked boundary as well. We're looking at temperatures on Wednesday in DC of only 4 Celsius. Similar values there for New York and for Chicago. Further south, well, 17 there for Atlanta. Still some warmth down into that southeastern quarter then, but the wintry weather will continue through the plains, through the prairies, western parts of Canada, Pacific Northwest, seeing some very wintry weather once again. It's brightening up for California, temperatures here at around 12, 13, maybe 14 degrees Celsius. So not brilliant, but at least it is dry and bright. Dry and bright too across a good part of the West Indies. Could see some heavy showers, mind you, just around Guyana, pushing up into Trinidad and Tobago, maybe into Grenada. I think for Barbados and for St Vincent should stay largely dry. As you can see, plenty of warm sunshine now. Kingston with a top temperature of around 29 Celsius. We've got some pleasant sunshine too into Central Europe, but it's of a crisp nature. -5 the top temperature here in Berlin. So wintry weather around, certainly over towards the east. Milder weather coming into the west. And as this mild weather hits the cold air, it turns to snow.
Qatar Airways, world's 5-star airline.
From local traders to international finance, it's commerce that makes the world go round. For global companies and developing markets, communication is the currency, and information is the most valuable commodity. Counting the cost at this time on Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera is journalism without frontiers.
Police are pushing the protesters and the media back off of the street.
From the mainstream
Who will pay the ultimate price for this disaster?
to the unreported world,
Taking the less traveled path often gives you a fresh perspective.
breaking the boundaries,
This is almost certainly the largest leak of military information in history.
cutting through the hype.
You can see the angry exchanges outside the Ministry of Transport.
Al Jazeera is setting the news agenda.
In his first major speech since the unrest began, a defiant Muammar Gaddafi calls on his supporters to reclaim the streets. Welcome to Al Jazeera, live from Doha. I'm Sahil Rahman. It's 3 GMT, 5 in the morning in Libya. Hundreds of Gaddafi supporters did pour out onto the streets of Tripoli, expressing solidarity with their leader. And a national state of emergency in New Zealand as the earthquake kills 75 people. Welcome to the programme. It's 5 a.m. in Libya and people are waking up to the reality that their leader is not going anywhere. I will die as a martyr and will fight to the last drop of blood. The defiant words of Muammar Gaddafi as he addressed the nation on Tuesday. This as foreigners are being evacuated from the country. The United Nations Security Council has condemned the violence and the Arab League has held an emergency meeting. No reaction yet from the African Union. And finally, support for Gaddafi. Libyan state television has been showing pictures of crowds of fans on the streets of the capital. Well, as we mentioned, the Libyan leader addressed the people on Tuesday. Let's listen in to what Muammar Gaddafi had to say.
Peaceful demonstration is different, and the undermining of the sovereignty is a different matter. The world must understand peaceful demonstration is different. Libyan people don't need to go to demonstrations. They can go to the People's Committee. But armed rebellion to disconnect Derna or Beida or Benghazi, it's a different matter. We will not allow it.
Ahmed al-Zwaihi, the Secretary General of the Libyan People's Committee, spoke at a press conference earlier. Now, he blamed foreign media for exaggerating unrest in the country, singling out Al Jazeera and the channel's host country, Qatar.
We used to respect our brothers in Qatar, but the brothers in Qatar have dedicated AlJazeera channel in order to provoke, to create lies, and to by Egyptians who live in Qatar, who have been paid a lot of money in order to conduct this conspiracy. And this is unacceptable from a brother country. Libya has a problem with brothers in Qatar, which is that they have helped us in sorting out problems with the West in exchange for giving them investment opportunities. These opportunities have not been agreed for administrative reasons. They were also upset because President Gaddafi attacked the presence of the American base in the country.
Libyan Colonel Naji Abu Harous also addressed the press conference. He listed the government